Hello, and welcome to our program Where God Weeps, a program where we speak about the situation of the suffering church around the world. Pakistan is a majority Muslim nation in the heart of South Asia that shares wide borders with Afghanistan, China, Iran, and India. Pakistan was founded in 1947 following the end of the British colonial rule in India. The founding father, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, envisioned a country which, although based on Islam, was to be at the same time pluralistic, accepting believers of other faiths. This is no longer the case. Today, the nation of approximately 220 million is predominantly Muslim, with Hindus, Sikhs, and Christians being very small minorities. The country is also ruled by a legal system based on the religious precepts of Islam, principally the Koran and the Hadith, called Sharia. This strict interpretation of the law, coupled with its abuse by a small number of radical fundamentalists, results in minority religious groups often facing discrimination and persecution. Here to discuss the situation in the country today and some of the challenges that the Catholic Church faces is Bishop Indrias Rehmat of the Okara District in the Faisalabad diocese. Your Excellency, thank you for being with us here today on our program.
Thank you, Mark, for inviting me in the program Where God Weeps.
Your Excellency, you were born in the Okara District, a small village area near Faisalabad. Can you tell us, what was it like growing up in this rural area of Pakistan?
I was born on 1st of July 1966 in a village which was small, and there mostly Christian and Muslim, they lived together. There was as such no discrimination, there was no problem. And the parish where I grew up was Antoniabad, so I used to go every morning to school. And then we were migrated to Faisalabad, and from there I studied in Warispura. Then I studied in a hostel in Gojra, St. Albert High School, and from there I completed my matric and I joined the seminary.
Did you grow up in a large family? Did you have brothers and sisters that also became religious, or are you the only one who followed the religious life?
My father was a catechist. I am the eldest in my family, so actually I have only joined this life, and I am the first from my family, but then from my relatives, from my nephews and nieces, there are other people in religious life.
You mentioned that your father was a catechist in the cathedral, and you also served at the altar in this cathedral. Was this where you first had a sense of your own vocation?
No, from the childhood I was watching priests very closely. But as I was in cathedral, there I found more vividly the life of bishop, the life of priest, and I desired that I must also be priest.
You joined the minor seminary at a young age of 16, and then you were ordained a priest 10 years later. Was there any doubts? Were there any moments, or were there any obstacles, discrimination or otherwise, that were obstacles to your vocation process?
So actually, as such, there was no obstacle as such, because our rector, our seminary, they provided good environment. I also did my pastor work in a village where there are many denominations. So there were challenges, but eventually with the rector's support, with the formators, I completed my training successfully.
You were appointed a bishop on June 29th, 2019. Was it a shock when you received the news? How did you and where did you receive the news of your new appointment as a bishop?
Actually, on 20th of June, Apostolic Nuncio called me and he said that he wants to talk to me. So I went, and he was saying that why you are in Faisalabad. And I told him that my house is in Faisalabad. Then he said, do you know when the Bishop of Faisalabad will come? So, but at the same time he was saying from the long time people are waiting, and I also see that our people were expecting.
A bishop?
Yes, expecting. So he said, when do you think the Bishop of Faisalabad will come? So I said, I haven't clue. I never thought about this. Then he said, Holy Father has appointed you Bishop of Faisalabad. So I was a bit shocked. I was quiet. Then he said, how do you feel? So I said, it seems it is a tough job. It is very demanding. But as you have already told, and I also know that from long time my community was waiting for a bishop. I said, if Holy Father has trusted on me, with God's trust, I also accept.
Your Episcopal motto is faith in action. Why did you choose this particular Episcopal motto?
When I was studying here in Rome, one of my cousins asked me when I went back, he said, what is moral theology? So I explained him faith in action, and that was stuck in my mind that, okay, we can preach, we can do many things, but if our faith doesn't become action-oriented, nothing will happen. So for this, I chose this.
And you'll have enough work to do, I think.
Yes.
On one side, you are a man of action. On the other side, you are a scholar. You have written a number of books. You were the dean of the National Seminary. You have gained your doctorate in moral theology in Rome. How do you see that your educational formation has prepared you for this new role as a bishop?
So I think this education which I have been getting and which I have been imparting is not only for a few seminarians, for few students, but this knowledge can be also imparted. So as bishop is a teacher in faith, so I am also transmitting this knowledge to my people. So I feel that this knowledge has prepared me to be firm and be faithful in my duty. So I am utilizing all the possibilities, sharing the same knowledge, sharing the same experiences with my people where I go, whether I am with youth, whether I am with children, whether I am in church. So I try to impart all what I got for my people's betterment.
You are the bishop in the district where you grew up. Is it difficult, as they say, it's always difficult to be a prophet in your own land. Is it difficult to be a bishop where you've been a priest, where you've been an altar boy, where you have run the streets? Or is it actually something that gives you such an intimate knowledge that it's almost a gift to be in this place?
Actually, I was growing in another place. I happened to be there for little time. Then most of the time I spent in seminary, and only 3 years I was in the actual ministry, 9 months in a parish, and then 2 years in minor seminary, and then I came to Rome for study, and I went back. I was teaching in major seminary. So actually after 20 years I came back to my diocese. So situation was changed, people were changed. The boys who grew with me, they have also gone here and there. But at the same time it was good to coming home back, and people welcomed me, and I don't feel hesitant. Rather, I have been 20 years outside of my diocese, and there I always felt I am a stranger. Whereas in the spirit of Faisalabad, in the community of Faisalabad, I found these are my people. They accepted me as their brother, as their guide, as their spiritual leader. So I think it is a great help.
Who are these people? Who are these people that you say that they are your brothers? How would you describe the faith of the faithful in the Diocese of Faisalabad?
when I say that my brothers and sisters, it is again all the faithful believers of Faisalabad diocese. Even on my consecration, my words were that this is not my diocese, this is our home, this is our diocese, and we have to work together. So even those words impressed people, touched people, and they got a new look, new outlook. At the same time, I say that the people, the faith of my people is very firm, very strong. They face lot of hardships, lot of difficulties, even sometimes discrimination, but they are firm in their faith and they bear testimony.
A former Capuchin superior stated, "Our Christian slums are notorious for being colonies of sanitary workers. Church leaders have to work hard to pull the community out of this business of cleaning streets." He's referring to the education of Catholics. What does he mean that it is, or rather, what is the challenge in pulling the Christians off the streets and into the schools?
I think when in the Capuchins, they built 5 Catholic villages. One is in Mariambad, which is in Archdiocese of Lahore, and 4 are in my diocese. But in cities, when these Christian colonies are made, they become ghetto, and there people feel they are confined there. It is easy job, and they are stuck to this. But we see that now little change is coming, and due to education, life is becoming better. Recently, I have started a technical school which was open but closed for a long time, and now there are computer training going on, stitching training going on, even shoemaking training going on, welding training was going on. So even this evening, somebody sent me photos that a lot of development is going on. Of course, it is not in the whole diocese, but we are trying to change this vision. And many youth, they are giving up, and we need to focus more on education. Of course, for this, we need more financial support, because many times people are poor, fees are high, and they are not able to continue their studies. So since they are not well qualified, then they have to do this sort of work.
This sanitary work. Your Excellency, there's another issue which is also more to do with the public schools, and that is the challenge that the bishops have recently come together to criticize the government's was so-called Islamification of the curriculum. My question is, how does this manifest itself in the Pakistani schools? What does this Islamification of the curriculum mean?
Actually, Imran Khan was saying that there should be one syllabus for all the people. In the past, there has been varieties of syllabus: Oxford, Cambridge, private school, government school, our religious school. So they were teaching different school system. But he wants to bring one. So the concept is nice. But then we say he also cannot implement the whole thing, because there are many fanatic Muslims who are after him. So in a way, now Islam is more prominent in this one curriculum. So therefore, we bishops have noticed that it is not only Pak studies or science or mathematics, but actually it is Islamic version. So they are therefore saying that there should be balanced.
So that just to understand the Islamic version, it means that texts from the Koran or texts from the Hadiths are being introduced within the, for example, mathematics or sciences or issues like this.
Above all, they are also demanding that in each school there should be Quranic class and also Nazara. So even I got one day from education department that in that school, how many Muslims are? So I told that in that school there are 3. So he said, who is the teacher? So they demand that if in our schools there are some Muslim children, they should be studying Quran. They should be studying Nazara. Nazara is to recite the Quran. But to our own children, they are not providing that facility. But thank God I am also responsible from Bishop side for Catholic education. And now we are trying to push our catechism. So our books are being accepted and now they are in the process. Hopefully our books will also be introduced in schools and our children will be able to study Catholic books.
It seems to be a constant tension between one step forward, 2 steps back, in terms of the ability of the Christians in Pakistan to live their faith, to express their faith. Would you say the situation is getting better or is getting worse?
In some places, it is getting popular where there are majorities. They can easily express their faith. They can have processions. The churches are free. But where there are few houses or they live in remote areas where priests also cannot go regularly and people also know very little about faith, there is problem. So sometimes they are taunted, sometimes they are humiliated, sometimes loudspeaker is used to show that Christianity is nothing.
There is this discrimination, but there is also then, in some cases, clear persecution. And I refer to situations where young Christian girls or women, in some cases, in some villages, are kidnapped and raped and forcibly converted. Much of this goes against the Pakistan constitution, but it is still prevalent in the country. What is happening here, and is this something that you see on the increase?
It is increasing. Even this morning, one of my priests who is working for justice and peace, he told, and it seems more cases are in Punjab and in the zone of Faisalabad, because this is a really fanatic, I think, part. Though we have also peace committees, some interfaith dialogue goes on, but we also see these cases are growing and we face a lot of difficulties to fight for them, to highlight them. But the judiciary system is, once somebody embraces Islam, or they say that this girl is converted, freely she has consented. So for judges also it is difficult to speak the truth because they will be harassed, they will be threatened, they will be killed. So due to this, it is fearful. Of course, there are some examples where girls have even come back, but the ratio is very little.
They've escaped.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the 2 nurses from my community, they were even accused of blasphemy. So they are still paying the high price and they are not totally set free. So their case is not finished.
The challenge for these girls, of course, if they have been kidnapped and forcibly converted, to come back into the Christian community is in some ways is very difficult. I suppose because in some ways, if you have suffered this attack and rape, it is a shame for the girl and in some ways for the family. And if I understand correctly, in the small villages, often the Christian families know who the Muslim perpetrators are, but they have no recourse to the law. How do you see this, this particular situation, and what can be done here?
Here again, they come very often to us, to our Justice and Peace Commission, and then we plead, we write, our advocates go with them. Many times their report is not registered. So there we see that if a policeman is a fanatic, if he is favoring the boy, then it is very difficult. But some or the other we use our pressure, we sometimes block the road, sometimes agitate, so that some favor, some concession can be given.
Your Excellency, with all of the challenges of persecution, discrimination in various forms, at the same time the Christian faith is growing, and one sign of this is that the vocations to the priesthood are growing. How do you see this, and what sign of hope is this for you, for the Christian community in Pakistan?
When I compare Western world, where now there are no vocations, it seems because secularism is prevailing or has already prevailed. So therefore vocations are very little. The other thing is maybe family life is also not stable. So whereas in our case, no one is atheist. All are believer, whether they are Hindu, whether they are Muslim, whether they are Sikh, so whether they are Christian. So they all are strong, firm believers of their faith. So same way, since our faith is every now and then questioned, therefore our people are more strong in faith, since family life is also very stable, and we see that priest and religious, this vocation is still very much respected, and they do a lot for community. So therefore I think this is touching, this is motivating our youth. So this way they also want to serve the church, they want to do something for the community, and therefore our assemblies are full, our formation houses are full, and that is sign of hope. And now Pakistan is ready not only to take care of their own situation, but also ready to even help other where there are need for vocations, where there need for life.
Your Excellency, another question is, I mean, again related to the question of discrimination, persecution, but at the same time you live together. That is, there is the sense of living together with the Muslim communities. How do you address the question of interreligious dialogue? Are you in contact with your Muslim counterparts, the imams? Are you able to discuss with them on issues concerning situations, for example, a practical problem in a village? How is the interreligious dialogue on a day-to-day level for you and within this Muslim context?
Actually, for normal people, this is normal. People attend the funeral, attend the weddings, attend other joyful and sorrowful occasions together. For them, this dialogue of life is quite possible. But when we meet imams, or when we meet other Muslims, Muslim leaders, apparently it seems easy. But at the same time, when there is a Eid, when there is a festivity, so they come, they bring even cake for us, but generally they are not very open. When there is any tragedy, there we feel that they don't come for our support. So though this dialogue is very, very important, and mainly it is from our side. We feel that we should be in collaboration with them.
Your Excellency, can you tell us, how can we help? How can the Universal Church help the church in Pakistan?
First of all, I think prayer and showing solidarity practically, as well as technically supporting our community so that we become strong in faith, we become strong in economy, and we become strong in education. Then only I think we can be able to face the existing reality. And now, as flood is quite severe in Pakistan, here financial support is much needed, and not only for those areas where there is flood, because due to heavy rains, even where there is not flood, even there people are affected. For example, if there is rain, the daily wages were not able to go for their work. The people who were doing some work, they are not able to sell their goods. So this way also I think they also need help. Then the other thing I see that some people, their roof has fell down, their walls are broken, their business are affected. So I think they should also be...
This material support is also necessary
for them, beside those affected area.
Your Excellency, thank you for having been with us and sharing the story of Pakistan and the church in Pakistan.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today in our program Where God Weeps. And if you'd like to know more about the situation of the Catholic Church in Pakistan, or perhaps how you might be able to help through concrete action or through your prayers, I would encourage you to look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.